So, Derek, do you believe we meet those at which at some point in life we were supposed to cross paths with them?
Yeah, I met a lot of great people along the way. I met Danielle Badia, which actually got me into the retail business. Um, it's crazy. We had worked at Amazon before, and I was grateful to have met her because she knew my work ethic from Amazon. And she's seen, like I say, she's seen the way I worked, and I knew she worked at Finish Line. So I know there was one day where I you know, I said I wanted a change. I wanted something different. And so I actually reached out to her. She helped me get on that finish line. Not only 3 days in on the job, and I went out with COVID. So I go out with COVID, and I get a phone call from DJ, which I went to school with. Shout out to DJ. He actually offered. He said, "Hey, I have this position for a stocking management position in the stock room. If you want it down at Park Meadows." I said, "You know what? Yeah." I was like, "I'll go ahead and take that position." I'm thinking manager position. Yeah, like, yeah, I'll take it. So I get down there, and everything's going good. Well, ran into this gentleman by the name of Gerald Hammond. And this dude knew so much about sports. And so one day this was probably about a month after I started, we're starting to kind of get acquainted. We're talking sports, and I bring up investments and, how I gamble from sports and this and that. Well, he said, "Goes, you like to invest?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I have an opportunity for you. Would you like to make more money?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, like who wouldn't, especially here in Colorado." So I said, "Yeah, I would like to." So he invited me to a business meeting. So in my head, I'm like, okay, got an opportunity to make more money. I'm going to a business meeting. I've done stuff like this in the past, and I'm just like I'm already prepared. Like if it's something I don't want to do, I'm not going to do it. So that night, actually, now that memory's serving me right, I didn't end up going that night. It was a Tuesday night. I ended up going the next week because he did ask me. I'm like, yeah. Finally came through. So as soon as I get into the building, one thing I noticed that was completely different. I'm like, did I walk into a club, or is this like, am I in the wrong building? So I get in there and I'm like, man, what the heck? I go, this isn't even like, this definitely doesn't seem like no business meeting. Well, you go around the corner, there's lights, there's music, food. I mean, all this stuff. I'm like, what? What did I just walk into? Well, man, I met another gentleman by the name of Jaime Gomez, Coach Gomez, and hearing what he was, it's not just what he was talking about, but genuinely you felt we're here to change. We are literally here to change lives. Like that was like I felt that. So of course I take the opportunity, get signed on. I started going to the meetings every Tuesday, and I started noticing. So I met Corice Cobb and then Carlos Guevara. Next thing I noticed is that they have their own brand because everybody's in business for themselves. So they have their own business, have their own brand. I'm like, man, this is kind of cool. It's like I think I could get used to this. And so I'm like, man, I could have my own brand. I could have my own application. Like this blew my mind. So for a couple months, I'm thinking, okay, I want something. I want a brand, but I don't want just anything. I don't want something corny. I don't want something just because I want it. So I started thinking, like, man, what should I name my brand? What do I want? So I'm thinking, I think the original name I had was Team Greatness. Kind of thought about it, like, no, it kind of sounds like cliche, and it's just like anybody could think of that. All I knew during this whole time is I wanted something that had to do with the lion because I'm a De Leon. Our family animal is a lion. So I'm like, I just want something with the lion. So took it upon myself, started kind of looking, okay, how can I, conduct this image? Well, I started thinking, okay, I got to come up with a name. So I'm like, okay, I don't want Team Greatness. I'm like, what about like, I want to be great. Like, what about be great? We're all in here to be great. I'm like, huh. So I think I could kind of latch on to that one. I'm like, be great. Okay, so I wrote it down, wrote out the image, like exactly like the image I wanted. I'm like, I think I got something here. So I go to make the image and do all this stuff. The way I wanted the E's was to represent the lion's claws, as well as myself and my two daughters. So that is what, when I do this, the Be Great signature, you'll see I do a B and I do 3 lines for the E's. So I thought, okay, be great. Okay. So I came up with my logo and everything. Well, the logo didn't quite look like a lion. This logo looked a little more like kind of on the demonic side. Like if you don't know that you don't know if it's a lion because I'm telling you, then you're not even gonna know what it is. So I was like, okay, this doesn't look right. I'm not too sure about it, especially in business. So I had Gabby completely redesign my logo. And at first it was tough. It was very tough because there was different designs that she was coming up with. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I want the lion. I want it to look like this. I want the Be Great to look like this. Like I was very precise on how I wanted it. So after some time, she finally got it, and that is the Be Great logo that you see everywhere now. And after that, I mean, I really, like I said, I have a lot of admiration for all of those people because I don't know, I didn't do this alone. I've met a lot of great people along the way, like yourself, Tab. A lot of people that stay in my life for a reason, as well as allow me to stay in their life. And I'm very appreciative, and I know the Lord has the best intentions for me and the people that are, that we're all graced upon in our life. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. And now we're going to get deep.
Let's go.
So you shared your thoughts. I want you to go in more depth and detail and share what you endured to get to this moment right now.
Yeah, it's a crazy journey how I got here. I do want to start by saying before I even got into business and all that, it really started after Danielle got me into the retail, because I had a friend tell me about these opportunities to go get like Dollar Tree, like franchise, or like the ownership opportunity. So I had this thought like, man, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I took it upon myself, looked into it when I came across Chick-fil-A. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to apply for Chick-fil-A because it's like pennies on the dollar to get it started. You'd actually be surprised. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go get it started. So applied for it. I had a lot of experience with leadership and leading team and all this, but never quite that business aspect of it. So applied for the Chick-fil-A, got past the first portion of the application. So here I am thinking like, man, this is going to be it. Like, I'm going to own my own Chick-fil-A, and we're going to be open on Sundays. I was like all happy about it. So get to the second portion of the application, and they denied me. They said I didn't have enough experience. I'm like, man, like the one thing you want, I would assume you want, not just to know business. Obviously, you need to know business, but man, if you can lead a team, that is, to me, that is business. Yeah. If you can lead a team, you can have a successful business. So anyways, after that, of course I go into business. That's when I met Gerald, all that. Now this next thing that really thought that would change my life, this actually happened last year. So I'm working for the post office, and I end up going to the wrong building. I'm like, I went to the wrong building, and I ran into a gentleman that owns this kind of like a restaurant. It was more like that fast food, like Grubhub type restaurant, and so started talking to him a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, this is my brand. I was wearing my Soul Snatchers, and he was very intrigued by it. So he's like, you know what, we should talk about a partnership. I really dig that brand. Love the colors and all. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So we exchanged numbers and all that. Well, he ended up, we kind of had this conversation. I'm like, yeah, I got 2 clothing lines. One's for couples. One is, like this global, the Be Great. And so he sees the Be Great, and he wants to make the transition to, he now wants to be great. Now, in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is exciting, but man, I know how big Be Great is going to be. So I was like, I don't want a partnership to hold me up from conducting bigger business. So I'm like, man, I was like, I don't really want my Be Great. I don't want somebody to take that. Like I have the ownership and I got it trademarked, by the way. So I have 100% ownership of it, but I just, if somebody sees that I'm partnering with somebody, they may they may not want to intrude on that. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't really want to let that go, even though it seemed like an amazing partnership. Well, writes up this contract, so I'm like, I'm willing to, okay, let's go. We'll go ahead and partner for the Be Great. So he comes up with this contract. I market his stuff, he markets my stuff. Well, of course, me, I'm like, I'm gonna go through this contract. I don't have a lawyer. I'm not just gonna sign a contract. I'm not gonna sign my life away. Like I need to be smart. So I get this contract, and one of the things that I did notice is that in the contract itself it stated if we collab on something like on a shirt, they'll have 100% ownership of that. That didn't sit well with me. I'm like, so let me get this straight. If they have any sort of input into something that my expertise is, like my expertise is the apparel. So I'm like, so if they have any sort of input, they're gonna own that? I was like, nah, this ain't right. So I questioned him. And he said, no, he goes, the example would be if we create a smoothie, we own the smoothie. If you create a shirt, you own the shirt. I'm like, okay, well, you need to fix this because that's not what this contract states. So he fixed that. And then there was something else in there. And honestly cannot remember what the second portion was. But anyways, I questioned that, so same thing. He goes, I just pulled that off of some website. He goes, it was a template, and I just filled in the contract. Oh, the second part of it wasn't even the right Soul Snatchers. It was Soul Snatchers Inc. I'm like, okay, you're about to conduct business with you're about to get yourself in a mess if this contract goes through because that's not even mine. So I was kind of saving him on that one. Right. And so I'm like, you need to fix that, man, because this ain't even the right thing. And that's when he's like, I pulled the template off and I filled it in, So I'm like, okay. Well, so at this point, I didn't even have my Be Great website. So here I am, I'm pressing my cousin, like, I got to get this up. Like, he said he's going full-time in November. He's about to get all this business, and which means that I'm going to get a lot of business. So I was like, this website's got to be up. So my cousin gets it up. Shout out to Bob too. Bob, man, did a phenomenal job of getting this website up because he's busy, man, as it is. Well, so I hit up this guy, my partner, never heard back from him. So this whole time I'm like, okay, so we go through this whole process, go through the contract, and all of a sudden I just don't hear from him. So I'm like, okay, and it's like I say, the whole thing, it just seemed kind of strange. Just something did not seem right. Yeah. So I kind of understand, okay, this all, like, it happened for a reason. I'm not going to press the partnership because it just, from the get-go, it just didn't seem right, And so that was that. And then most recent, this one really blew my mind. So I thought I was going to really have a partnership with Lids. So Lids, everybody knows Lids. Well, I come to them, I'm like, hey, I'd like to talk to the marketing team. I'd like to, explore a partnership. So they put me in contact with the marketing team. They're like, get some hats done. We want to make sure that we're a good fit for you, and we want to make sure that you're a good fit for us. Hey, that's fair, of course. So I get some hats done. Came out amazing, by the way. Get in contact with the marketing team. They start passing my emails along, and here I am, like, oh my gosh, this will be life changing. The moment because Lids is global. Like, no matter where you go, you're gonna find the Lids. I mean, even inside like Macy's. Macy's even has Lids. So passed through the marketing, and I never heard anything back. And man, it was tough. because I really thought with not like just barely having my website up, I'm like, I know how big this brand's going to be. And I really, for them passing my email, I was like, man, this is going to change my life. Apparently there's other plans for me.
So with that being said, you knew that it was going to be you know that it's going to be a big brand. What advice would you give to someone who wants to also accomplish their success?
Yeah, some advice that I would give everybody that really wants it bad enough. That's the key word. If you want it bad enough, you're going to feel that. Everything that we do in life, you have to attach a feeling to, but you got to be careful what you attach your feeling to. If you attach to negative, gossiping, all that BS, you're going to start to feel, and all that's going to get lost in translation. If you attach to something that's bigger, like your legacy, your kids, your brand, your business, your goals, your mindset, if you attach to that emotionally, you're going to start to feel the manifestation in it. Because I look at a lot of things where you've got to nurture the feeling of wanting to do something versus just, yeah, I want to do it, but excuse. So my advice would be, for one, when they say don't give up, trust me, we mean do not give up. First thing, do not allow any other voice to tell you to give up. Because as soon as you hit adversity, that is when the journey starts. When you hit adversity, that's when people quit.
Yeah.
Build yourself to the highest regard, where like, stuff's going to happen. We're all going to go through trials and tribulations, whether we like it or not. So you might as well face it head on, and you might as well continue going, because if not, what's the point? It's going to happen. That's life.
That's what comes with success.
Yep.